and Lighthouse is our emergency pregnancy center. And I'm happy to say that since we've opened Lighthouse, we have saved over 34 children, women who have come in, sometimes by accident, who came in for an appointment at Planned Parenthood to have an abortion, walked into Lighthouse and decided to keep their child. Now, if you want to have a great day, stand there as a volunteer and have a mother come in who's looking to abort her child and tell her, we'll give you a free ultrasound. We'll help you understand the dignity and the worth and the value of not just you, but your child, and have her say, you're right, I'm going to keep my child. And that's what happens at Lighthouse on a daily basis. We hear a lot of pundits on television, a lot of politicians periodically will talk about this war on women. Well, let me tell you our perspective on the war on women. So first we ask women to contracept. Then what happens? Well, if that contraception, whatever it may be, fails, what do we ask them to do? Well, we ask them to abort. So abort your child. It won't bother you, don't worry. It's okay, honest, trust me. That's what these young women hear. And if they decide not to abort, then what happens? Well, they keep their child. And who raises that child? What happens to the women if they decide to keep the child? Well, at Catholic Charities, we have a bird's eye view on this. What happens is that first and foremost, they're ostracized, and in many cases they suffer domestic abuse from their partners who don't want them to keep the child. So they're beaten, they're ostracized, they're kicked out of their house. If they live at home and their parents don't want them to keep that child, they're kicked out of the house, which leaves them homeless. So now they're pregnant and they're homeless, and they have no one who loves them to care for them. If you are a woman and you have a child out of wedlock, and last year, by the way, was the first year in the history of the United States where there were more children born out of wedlock than were born in marriage, in wedlock. If you're a woman with a child, you have a 30% chance of living below the poverty line. Charity begins when we stop objectifying our spouses. It begins when we stop forcing one another to contracept. Now, most of the burden falls on women, which is why this war exists. We ask them to do this, and then we deny, as men, any responsibility for the children that we've just created, which is why we don't see men when we see women in poverty. Sex is a beautiful, amazing thing, and the Catholic Church is an amazing proponent of it in the right circumstances when it's honored for what it is, which is a beautiful act of creation given to us by Jesus Christ and God our Father. And that's where charity begins. It's in not sleeping with your spouse to be. Right? Now, I didn't say your wife to be. I said your spouse to be. This has to go both ways. Men and women have to take responsibility. When we do that, when the people in this room do that, then we will start to be charitable. Because we'll truly be charitable in a way that matters with the people we love the most. And when you're charitable with the people you love the most, guess what happens? Then you're charitable with other people who you may not love quite as much, you may not know them quite as much, but you will understand charity, and then you'll start to share it. I tell them.
Yes, you have a question? Yeah. Oh, no.
Okay, this is more of a thank you to Catholic Charities, because I stand up here, I was adopted through Catholic Charities 46 years ago. And his whole point on charity, my husband and I have lived that because we didn't embrace the church's teaching. But thank goodness my birth mother gave life, and then we came to discover the beauty of God's teaching and openness to life, and now have 7 children of our own. So thank you, Catholic Charities.